another episode of Marketing Management and Money with your hosts, Ryan and Ryan. We are going to be looking at the wonderful topic of selling today and whether or not you should be diving into selling or whether you should be taking time to plan your selling activities.
And I think that this is maybe going to be, there's going to be two parties here.
For sure.
There's going to be the group that's going to be like, oh, you just, when it comes to sales, you just got to be aggressive. You got to make it happen. You got to jump in. And then there's going to be the party or the camp. And I think this is where I fall. And that is, take some time, before you build the road, know where you're trying to build the road to. Because you can go, clear all the trees that you want and just start plowing down everything in your path.
And I can just feel the eye rolling happen as you're saying that from all those people that are like, no, man, just get out there and sell. The road will build itself. It'll come. You'll look behind you and it'll be there, right? Like getting into selling is so much more productive and proactive than planning, right? And that's kind of the thought process here. And I've seen that time and time again. And there are people that can sell that way. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, there's some major downside to it, right? However, I kind of land on the same side of the fence that you do, but way, way further away from the middle ground of balance. I'm like, no, guys, we still don't know.
You do get into that, what is it, paralysis analysis?
Analysis paralysis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, analysis paralysis, where...
I do bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You like to, talk and discuss and think and plan and then talk and discuss and think. The funny thing is you can't stand meetings. You're like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, right. Why are we here? We're getting nothing done.
No, it's this.
I'm sorry, I just called out your hypocrisy.
No. It's perfect, and I'm going to explain why. Because it's all in how much I am totally not an extrovert. Right. This all comes back to me being completely introverted.
Okay.
Talking to you, it's one person. I'm not talking to the world right now.
I was going to say,
really,
so
that's
many of our
happening.
listeners are like,
I know, right?
He's an introvert?
Yeah. What? Oh, so bad. And it's that same thing. It's like, I get in a group of people or I meet new people and there's the small talk that's going on. And I have the hardest time in the world with that. Like if somebody's talking to me, it's fine. Right. But if I'm having to carry on the conversation, dude, driving the babysitter home is the worst for me. I hate it because it's like, okay, well, I relate to you on no level. Nothing you do is interesting to me. And vice versa.
Ouch.
Vice versa.
I was going to say, put the
I'm
vice
this
versa
34-year-old schmuck with receding hairline. Like this babysitter doesn't want to talk to me either. You know what I mean? And so anyway, that's what it all comes back to. And I just... Yeah, I don't like the small talk. I don't like the low level. If you want to get deep into conversation, heck yeah, let's go there. Let's get personal and let's get deep and ethereal and, way out there. I'm all about that.
But, okay, before we just start overanalyzing your personality.
I know, right? Let's just turn from sales to
but
therapy with Ryan and Ryan.
But I want to ask this question.
How does it make you feel?
What really put us down this path was we started talking about sales and immediately we went into personality. And I'm going to ask this question. How much does it matter personality? Because, we said, okay, you've got these two different camps. Those that are just jump in, get it done, make it happen. And those are like, oh, let's plan. Is that a personality issue? Or is there really a better way to sell in a business? Is one better than the other? Or is it strictly whether you're an introvert or an extrovert?
Sure. I sincerely, in my heart of hearts, believe that these are character traits, right?
So selling is nothing more than character traits.
I think so. Can they be learned? Yes, absolutely. It can become part of your character.
I'm probably going to disagree with you,
but it's
make your case.
It's long and hard work, right? You can't just go to a college class and all of a sudden you are this guru in sales. You're this Zig Ziglar, right? Mm-hmm. But there are people that have shown that, they put in the time and the effort years into this, learning the craft and mastering the craft. And it becomes part of their approach to life and who they are and how they do things. That, their thought processes shift. in that case, then yeah, I think that you can learn those things, but they have to be so deeply and harshly impressed on you that they become part of who you are. Now, the vast majority of people who I know that are top-notch salesmen, it's just kind of like this innate thing within them, and they just excel at it. It is definitely, again, not something that I possess, but it's just part of who they are, really, right?
So, okay, I am going to agree that a lot of it is personality, but not the majority, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that too many people place too much of an emphasis on personality, and they're just like, oh yeah, I can't sell, or oh yeah, I that lady, she can sell, ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm just like, no. And I'm going to back up just a second for the foundation of my philosophy on sales, and that is sales has little to do with the sale, and it has everything to do with the need or the demand. And if you look at it that way, then anyone can sell anything if someone needs it. Like if I'm in the desert, I have been wandering for the last 2 days, and I'm about ready to just pass out from thirst, and you happen to be hiking along, and you've got your water bottle there, and you're just like, this is great. All of a sudden, my demand is so dire. It's such a strong need that I have that you don't even have to sell it to me. Like, I'm going to beg you, like, please give that to me. And I think that selling is the same way. If I am at a car dealership, which are very typical salespeople, right?
Sure.
So I just purchased a new truck, and the selling experience was it was wonderful. So the guy was terrible.
Oh wow, it was wonderful. He was the worst.
Okay, let me explain. He was a terrible salesperson.
I hope he's not listening to this.
Yeah, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I don't think he'll be offended, because here's the deal. The reason why he was terrible is I was asking him things about the truck,
Sure.
and he's sitting there and he's like, you know what, honestly, I don't know. And I'd ask him something else about the truck, and he's like, yeah, I don't know that either.
No clue.
And I said jokingly to him, I'm like, so how long you worked here?
Nice.
And honestly, he had kind of just barely been there for about a month, and he's like, well, I kind of just moved back to the area and just started doing this, and I'm
Gotcha.
like, cool. But the thing that was so nice about it is he was honest with me.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted. I did not
Right.
want a salesperson. Like, I already knew. I had done the research on the vehicle that I wanted.
Sure.
And he was only there to just help the experience along. He wasn't there to actually sell anything. And had he tried to sell me, I would have walked away. I would have been like, you know what? I got a couple other, lots that they have similar vehicles. I can go check them out.
Sure.
So I didn't want a salesperson. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I had already identified a need. I already knew what I wanted. I had already done the research. I showed up, and he was just honest and friendly, and that's all I was looking for. And his personality was not what I would classify as a salesperson, and he got the sale.
Okay. So let's look at this again from the perspective of, do you just dive into sales in your company, or do you take time to plan and research and create a strategy and all that? And I'm thinking of specifically in terms of rep sales. If you're a company that works with external sales reps, outside sales reps, and they are out there pitching your product to dealers or distributors or whomever, and they are pitching your product, your services against the competition. We've said, I believe we've said on this podcast before, that all sales are a function of marketing.
Right.
And this approach to selling really is just another form of marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they are going out and pitching the features and the benefits or what have you against the competition.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get lucky and your competitive edge kind of pole vaults you across the sales line. You get the sell and what have you. But sometimes it really comes down to it's a waiting game, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're approaching this dealer, this customer, and you just do that time and time again. You take them tons of donuts and what have you for years before they're finally like, hey, our other manufacturer just screwed up and we can't have that anymore. So we're switching.
Yeah.
And it's more of just kind of a right place, right time thing. So in that kind of an instance, because I think that a lot of small business owners run into a scenario similar to this, maybe not exactly like this, but similar to this, where it's like they're getting out there, they're selling, and it's, is it this waiting game or is it just a matter of competitive edge? Does it matter if you haven't taken the time to be strategic and plan all of that out? Or should you just get out there and sell? Should you just take this because you believe in your competitive edge and just push it and push it and push it?
Mm-hmm. So, okay, here's where I'm going to be a strong advocate for the planning of the sale.
Okay.
A lot of people say, man, I just get out there and I just sell. And I'm like, do you really? Is there not already a process in place? Is there not already a product to sell? I've seen great salespeople that they'll jump on board with like an up and coming startup.
Yeah.
And they will, they'll go out and they'll push and they'll push and they'll push on this startup. And then they'll realize that the startup doesn't really have their act together.
Yeah.
And they don't want to sell for that company. And so, yes, they've got the personality to sell, but because the planning wasn't done on the company side of things, the people with the talent to sell are saying, you know what, I'm sorry, I'm gonna go somewhere where I can actually grow with a company, where I can actually go out and sell something, where the back office is going to support the sale, because I mean, I've seen when the salesperson goes out and they makes the sale, and then the back office doesn't support the sale. Like they don't ship on time.
Right.
It's back ordered. The product that was sold or the service that was sold doesn't match what was actually delivered.
Right.
I mean, I
hey,
could
we're
go
gonna
on
do
and on and on.
We're gonna do an onboarding, and then they never do kinds of things.
Right. And then that salesperson pretty much, they become disenfranchised with the organization,
right,
because they're like, look, you guys are holding me back. And so, these salespeople are just like, oh man, I just go out and I just sell. And I'm like, yeah, but you got a system in place. There's a foundation in place. There's a back office in place,
right,
strong enough to support your sales. And I really want to put that emphasis on strong enough, because sure, yeah, there's going to be a back office there. There's going to be someone who's going to be, doing the books and placing the orders and, managing inventory and those kinds of things.
Right.
But are they solid? Are they strong?
Right.
Can they keep up with the sales, or is it just top heavy, ready to topple over?
Right, exactly. And I love the approach that you're taking here, because to me it really does become a separate issue where it's like, this is more about the management and the marketing side of things. It really does come back to this planning and what have you, in one sense, but in another, you also have to have the right salesperson, right?
You do. And
like there again, like kind of like we talked about there, for me, there really is just something about a person that is really good at sales, that it's identifiable, maybe not quantifiable. I mean, maybe it isn't like numbers, but
sure.
It's something, they have that quote unquote X factor, so to speak. Right. And how do you find that? How do you look for that?
So
is that a crucial component to this blend? Is there some balance here? You know what I mean?
So
I'm asking these rhetorically.
Oh no!
For spurring conversation.
You're gonna love this,
and to get you agitated.
You're gonna love this. So, I love to say that all's fair in love, war, and business.
Okay.
Because really, love, war, and business, they kind of follow the same rules.
They're all basically the same thing.
Yeah. If you really start picking it apart, and this is what I'm going to talk about in life, I believe that there is someone out there for everybody. Like, if you want to find a partner, if you want to find a mate, there is someone out there for you. I don't care how goofy you are. I don't care how awkward you are, how shy you are, how controlling you are. Like, there's someone out there who loves those features.
And your parents will find them for you.
Maybe. And so when you're talking about sales and you're just like, man, there's this personality. Here's the argument that I'm going to make. I'm going to say that everyone is a salesperson. Just like there's someone out there for everybody, there's a sale out there for everybody. It's putting the matches together, matchmaking, the customer and the seller.
Okay. Okay.
And so here's what I'm saying, right? There are stereotypical sales personalities.
Sure.
And they're easily identified, and oftentimes they work for certain customers.
Absolutely.
But there are other customers that they want a different selling experience, or buying experience, I should say. These customers want a different buying experience. And so you as a manager, when you're trying to put together your sales strategy, don't just automatically go toward the stereotypical salesperson as the solution. That might be the solution, but rather look at your customers and say, what kind of experience do my customers want to have? Am I providing that experience for them? Do they want an aggressive salesperson who's going to come in and get it done and make it happen? Or do they want someone who's more of a relationship type salesperson, where they're going to take the time to understand your needs and what you're looking for? Or maybe it's an informational sales process where, it's lots of information, data, research, those kinds of things. And there are so many different kinds of sales processes. And this, again, where you're talking about, oh man, there's this right personality for sales. And I'm just like, I don't think so. I think that there's the right personality for some customers, and then there's a different personality for other customers, and a different personality for other customers.
Yeah.
Now, getting that right mix and that right blend, that's not to say that getting a really awkward personality in your company and you're just like, oh, we just need to find find the customers that really like this. No. Like, your customers already know what type of personality they want. Match it to that.
Yeah,
that's where the matchmaking comes in.
Man, that is gold right there. I love that. And this comes back to the fact that I am not a salesperson, right? I mean, in certain, like you just pointed out, like in certain circumstances, absolutely. Like, if to go back to your example from earlier about being, what was it? You were not starving to death. You were dying of thirst in the desert,
yeah.
right? You're dying of thirst in the desert, and you need water. And I come hiking along, and I've got gallons of it on my back for some odd reason. And I'd be like, oh yeah, here, take my water. Like in any, even if in any circumstance, right? And I get that I'm like, oh, I'll pat myself on the back because I'm charitable, whatever. But like, in sales, like, I don't do well because I'm like, oh yeah, no, you can just have that. It's fine. I'll just write it off on the receipt. It's a warranty item, right? Sample? We'll call it a sample. I'm bad at it. So it would have to be a very precise situation for me to be matched in that, whatever, with that customer. But
sure, you do you, man.
Nonetheless, I think that thought process, that approach to sales and selling and salespeople is absolute gold. It really is, because it's this really good balance between the two of, do you plan? Do you risk running into analysis paralysis, or do you just open the gate and let the floodwaters run out and see what happens, right? And it really is kind of this, like this really good balance, because I see it being something where if you've done the research up front, if you have identified what type of experience that your customers want to have, and then you put that in place and open the gates and let it run, what's going to happen?
And that right there,
it's going to be amazing.
You just hit the nail on the head, because I believe to my core that when businesses say, oh, you just jump in and make it happen,
that's really what they're after.
No. what they're saying is, I don't know how to plan,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I'm going to skip that step.
Ha,
That
okay.
step makes me uncomfortable.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
Oh, yeah.
therefore I'm going to just
I see where you're
jump
going.
forward. Yeah, I mean,
I see that all the time.
yes, there are some that's really what they're after, but not many. Most of them are just like, we'll just make it happen. We'll be successful because we'll sell. Well, what's
Yeah.
your sales strategy? To go out and sell.
Word of mouth. I'm going to bring that up as much as I possibly can.
'Cause I hate it so much.
I hate it too. It's terrible.
But so I was talking with this guy who he is on a he's on a sales team of a small business, and there are it's a small sales team. There's about 4 of them. They go out there and sell. And I was talking to him, and I said, I'm like, what's your sales strategy? And he's like, well, to go out and just work with the customers and build relationships. And I'm like, what's your strategy? He's like, what do you mean?
He's
Like,
building relationships. I just told you.
I'm like that's not a strategy. And here's, if you want to know if you have a sales strategy in your company, super easy test. Take the strategy away from the salesperson and give it to someone in accounting.
Yeah.
And ask that person in accounting, say, hey, what's this sales strategy? And if they know what to do, they might not be comfortable doing it. They might be like, look, I'm in the back office for a reason because I don't like putting myself out
Right.
there. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, can they understand what should happen? And if they can't, there's no sales strategy.
Yeah. I mean, even keep it more simple than that. Just hand it to them and ask them, what is this? They're like, a football play?
Yeah. And, and
Wrong.
So in the case of, this guy that I was talking to, his sales strategy was reach out to the customer. So if I took that and I gave it to someone else and I said, okay, reach out to the customer, and they'd be like, how? Like,
Just call them?
do I call them, or
Do I have a script? Can I say just anything?
Am I supposed to stop by or wait for them to come in, or
What am I calling them for?
Yeah, and to the salesperson who, they've done this, they're just like, oh, it makes sense. And so I kind of worked with them, and I said, okay, let's develop this sales strategy. And,
Very cool.
And we actually came up with a sales strategy. Like, we identified the target market, and we said, okay, what are the characteristics of the target market that we want to go after? And, and then we knew how to reach out to them with an offering of something they were interested in. And, it was really exciting to see them actually have a strategy and go after it. And they're just like, oh my gosh, like this makes sense. It's not just cold calling. I'm like, exactly. It's not just cold calling. That's horrible.
Yeah. That's been, man, you know how you have those situations in life where somebody can explain something to you. You can be told your whole life this one thing, and then all of a sudden somebody says it, and they just say it in the right way that it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, now I get it. I feel like that's what this episode has been like for me. And I'm not trying to be like inflammatory or whatever, but seriously, it's like, wow, that just the way that we're thinking about this right now it's clicking with me. I'm loving it.
So my wife.
Uh-oh.
This cracks me up.
On a completely different side of the pendulum here.
I will have those moments all the time where, like, I'll be sitting down and, we'll have some friends over for dinner or something.
Sure.
We'll get into these conversations, and they'll start saying something. I'll be like, oh my goodness, that's brilliant. And my wife will just be like, I have told you this so many times. I'm like, well, maybe you didn't say it the right way. Huh?
Oh, man.
She gets so mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It cracks me up because it's true, you have to hear it the right way, and it has to just all of a sudden click. You got to be in the right space. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, totally. Yep. I 100% get what you're saying.
Love you, dear.
Yeah. You're not going to make me sign papers, are you?
Oh, so with that, if you don't have a sales strategy in place, get a sales strategy in place. Take the time, jot some things down. It doesn't have to be, long or extensive. It just has to be something that if you gave it to any other employee in the company would they know what to do? And if the answer is no, then take a little bit more time to, put a strategy together. And
then try to match, do your matchmaking.
exactly.
Be a matchmaker and match the right salesperson to that
To the right
correct
customer.
strategy.
Yeah,
And magic.
magic happens.
Man, I wish we had a sound effect right now. We're terrible at sound effects.
No, that was really bad. So, I hope you enjoyed that magical moment. We are going to go ahead and sign off for this week's episode, but you can catch us again next week and every other week. That is Marketing Management Money. Check us out, marketingmanagementmoney.com.
Ciao.